fan base. Good morning, Who Dat Nation. It's your boy 44, just on his way to work, and just had a few choice words to, I guess, kind of just develop a little bit of closure here for that catastrophic, traumatizing, breathtaking, shocking, stunning, disappointing loss yesterday. Um, I guess a little bit of therapy, a little bit of therapy. Um, we all knew coming into the season that, and I told you guys personally what my expectations were. I said the Saints. I think their floor is 7 wins. I still do. Their ceiling is 10 wins. I still do. I think when you jump out to a 2-0 start and you win games that you may or you probably shouldn't have won, and then it looks like you're going to start 3-0 and win the first 3 games without Alvin Kamara, which to me would have been an absolute miracle. You start to gain some kind of rapport, some kind of expectation. You start to maybe question, is this team a little better than we thought? And the truth of the matter is, our defense is great, excellent. Regardless of what happened in the fourth quarter yesterday, the defense is absolutely fine. And I don't want their psyche to be manipulated by the fact that the offense was only able to put up 10 points and couldn't get a first down in the second half. Our defense is absolutely locked down. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Um, where I'm going with this video is more directed towards my expectation and my mindset regarding the New Orleans Saints. I'm a diehard fan. I'm sure, as all of you in this chat are, Snakebite Jerry. What's up, Buck Skull Gang? Good luck for you tonight, but I think you're going to take an L, but it's going to be a close game, I believe. Um, so where I'm going with this video is, although I am a diehard fan, and although I have the tendency to, I guess, especially as of lately, when we've won games, I've made quick little short live stream videos and just kind of wrapped up and talked about what we needed to improve. But when we've lost games, I've kind of came on here and just tore everybody apart and just started pointing the finger at everybody and why we shouldn't have gotten rid of Will Lutz, why Dennis Allen sucks as a coach, why the defense may not be that good. I started kind of trying to let this negative thinking pattern affect what is actually factual. Um, and it took me some time to process what exactly I feel costed us this game. And although it's easy to look at the defense for letting up 18 points in the fourth quarter, it's easy to look at Blake Grupe for missing what could have been a game-winning field goal. But I mean, who knows the way that of how tired the defense was? If Green Bay wouldn't have went down and kicked the field goal themselves to win. You just don't know. But what would have given the Saints the lead at the time? It's easy to look at those two things and blame them for the loss. When in reality, we knew we didn't have a good offensive line to begin with. We knew we were skating on thin ice with this offensive line. Um, and we knew that the coaching was not efficient. We knew all of this coming into the season, well, and I knew it. And I'm not. let me not mention the offensive line coming into the season, because coming into the season, I thought the offensive line would be okay. I thought they would be okay with a healthy Trevor Penning, and all this other good stuff. I thought they'd be okay, but it turns out that they are one of the worst units in the league right now. Um, my point in being, we all knew that the coaching was what it was. That it's going to get as good as it's going to get. And the only thing that can save us is the talent. The talent would be the only thing that can save us. And it looked like for the first few games, the defense was really able to hold that down. And now that we ended up, of all three of the games, the lowest probability of us losing out of all three of those games, considering what had happened in each of those games, was yesterday. If you told me the Saints were going to blow a 17-0 lead in one quarter, I would have been like, okay, okay. That I would start laughing because it would be such irony, but at the same time, it would be like, I mean, it's not even likely. It's not even possible. Like, Green Bay's not going to have enough time. They might have enough time to score on 2 possessions, not 3. And, what do you have? It ended up happening, and it sucked to watch. But we all knew coming into the year what the coaching was, and we all knew that we had talent on this team. Um, but whenever you look down the X's and O's, we all know that coaching overrides talent any day of the week. And ultimately, and realistically, the blame for yesterday's loss is ultimately on the coaching. And you can sit here and justify, well, the coaching doesn't play defense, the coaching can't play offense. And although you may be correct, the strategy in which the players were finishing the game was absolutely conservative. They weren't playing to win, they were playing not to lose. And when you play not to lose, you don't get first downs. When you play not to lose, you're constantly punting the ball. When you play not to lose, you're not playing 50-50 defense. You're trying to play defense to where you just don't want to let them get in the end zone, which it looked like the Saints did a great job at that up until they converted on 4th down and made it 17-11. So, I mean, you look down the line, why wasn't Taysom Hill used more in the second half? Why weren't we running him? Why weren't we trying to establish a running game and a balanced attack in the second half? Why was the play calling so generic? Why was Michael Thomas running these 2-yard little slant passes, slant routes? It's just, all these questionable situations. And then you look at, the some of the punts that we kicked away. It wasn't. I'm sorry, but I'm not sure if the punter that we have now is better than Blake Gilligan. I don't quite know that that's true. And the way he kicks the ball away is very awkward, and I'm not very fond of the way he punts the ball. And although, like I said, that wasn't the deciding point in the game, it definitely set Green Bay up to where, maybe they should have had it inside the 10-yard line, which we had a great job of defending throughout the game. They would start at the 20. They started one drive at the 30-something. And it's not like we were pinned back that deep. We were punting from like 30-something yard line. You should have probably punted the ball inside the 15. And instead, they started off with better field position on those last few drives where they were able to utilize. And that may be separate from coaching, but because of coaching, because we couldn't move the ball, we had to keep on doing that, and that's what led to it. Coaching cannot. You couldn't sustain one drive in the second half to where you can go down and just kick a field goal. Just kick a field goal. It was absolutely. There was no trust. There was no trust. And going forward, I'm not quite sure if I have any trust in this team going forward. It's kind of like, you just got to be accepting to whatever happens and not get too arrogant and say, oh, well, we should be 3-0. We should have had this happen. We should have had that happen. Because at the end of the day, I said it before the season started. I said if there's anything that's going to cost the Saints, it's going to be coaching and the offense, perhaps, and that's what's happening right now. I also mentioned that penalties from the preseason may also be a factor, and those two pass interference penalties were huge. But that all boils down to coaching, and you can say what you want. Um, the Saints being 2-1 at this point is probably where they should be. I think 3-0 might be 3-0 might be a little bit of an overachievement because the Saints were in three close ball games. You pull out two of them, you lose one that you probably should have won the most out of all three of them. I think it's just time to take a new approach going forward. Um, if they win, awesome. We'll celebrate. We'll get hyped up. But if they lose, like if they were to lose to Tampa Bay, which I think they have a shot to beat Tampa Bay. I think they can beat them. But again, it all boils down to what the offense is going to do. Is just Kamara coming back and fix that? I don't think it will. I don't think Kamara can make the offensive line block better. The offensive line is just going to have to, just straight up. I mean, I don't exactly know how you fix that. What do you have to do? Just change their diet? What do you have to do? Put them in the weight room for longer? Push them around a lot more? Make them run laps? Like, what do you have to do to make the offensive line better? I don't know what more you can do. They are what they are. Can you make them better? It seems like they're just getting bullied every week. And if they were just half competent, we'd probably be 3-0 with ease right now. We'd probably have won yesterday like 27-13. We probably would have won last week like 28-17 or whatever. And then week one we might have won by 14 or something. If this offensive line was just somewhat competent. But I don't know what they're doing in practice. What are they doing in practice? How are they getting better? Dennis Allen talks about, oh, we got to learn from it and get better. Well, how are you getting better? What are you doing? You running laps? You making them run? You making them go push more weight? What are you doing? How are you getting better? Doing the same thing in practice every day is not going to get better. Yeah, and that's who's our offensive line coach? Doug Marrone, supposedly a former head coach. Well, he was a former head coach with Jacksonville. Brought him to the AFC Championship, and now he's an offensive line coach. That ought to tell you something. And it's just, what is Doug Marrone doing? Like, how are you getting your offensive line to block better, dude? It all boils down to coaching, dude. I don't know if he's holding the offense accountable. I think he's sitting there making little baby excuses. But the funny thing is, yesterday when they came out of the locker room to start the second half, Pam Oliver reported after talking with Dennis Allen and asking them how pleased he was about the defense. Dennis Allen said, "We got to do better. We got to do the small things better in the second half." If anybody saw that little interview, well, they did everything but the small things better in the second half. And coaching, dude. How do I feel about Jameis playing? Well, I don't think yesterday was a very fair measurement for Jameis. That's what I'm saying, Chris. Allowing 18 points in the fourth quarter is not unheard of whenever you have a lead already sustained. But if the offense isn't going down and taking care of business and sustaining drives, then uh, I mean, yeah, you get tired. You get tired. That's why I'm just gonna kind of go into every week preparing for the worst, I guess you can say, and hoping for the best. Like I'm expecting the defense to play well against Baker Mayfield next week. I think we'll hold Tampa Bay to 20 or less. I don't know what the offense is going to do against that defense, though. I mean, Justin Fields was able to put up 24 on them. Justin Fields, the Chicago Bears, that's arguably the only offense that might be worse than the Saints, is Chicago. And they put up 24 points on Tampa Bay. And we haven't put up 24 points yet. I think if the Saints put up 27 points on Sunday, which right now that's a lot to ask, but if they put up 27 points, I'd guarantee a victory. I would guarantee a victory. Chris, I don't know if that would have made a difference though, dude. I don't think Kamara would have made a much of a difference in this scenario. I mean, we haven't we can't block. We can't block anybody. Who's he gonna run past? He's a little skinny guy. Kamara ain't gonna run through all these big defensive linemen. It's this offensive line. They can't block. And I mean, that's with coaching. What is coaching doing during practice? What are they doing to get the offensive line better? No. The Bears won, you guys won 27-24 last week, Buck Skull Gang. 27-24 you guys won. That's Buck Skull Gang. You guys ended up giving up a whether you call it a garbage time touchdown or whatever, they scored 24 points on you, dude. I don't think Pete Carmichael would know what to do with a Pete Carmichael wouldn't know how to use a hot chick in his bedroom naked that wanted it, was desperate for it. Pete Carmichael wouldn't know how to use that. All right, Bucks, go. Let me take a look at this. I'm gonna take a look at this. My bad, Bucks. Skull. You were right, dude. No, hey, dude, you were right. I, you got me, dude. I was thinking about, I confused y'all's game with the Ravens and Cincinnati last week. They were up, Cincinnati was down 27-17, and they scored a touchdown to make it 27-24. I thought that was y'all's game. Sorry about that. But I mean, at this point, my mindset is changing in the sense that I'm just gonna anticipate that the worst can happen on Sunday and just hope for the best. But if the Saints get out to like a 20-7 lead or whatever and going into the fourth quarter, then just don't get too excited. Just don't get too excited. So, that's all I can really say. Just don't get too excited. But that's my mindset. I'm just not going to expect anything and just hope for the best. That's what I expected from them coming into the season. A 7-10 or 10-7 team. That's about what I'd call an average team with average coaching and a dominant defense. But I mean, hey, we can still sustain a 10-7 record. It's still possible. So I did say that I'd be happy with a 10-7 record in a wild card or a division win, a division championship. I said I'd be happy with that. Um, so with that being said, I definitely I mean, I shouldn't be counting my chickens more. I shouldn't be counting my chickens before my eggs hatch. I shouldn't be ungrateful with a 2-1 record. But it is disappointing when you know that you could have done better than you were expected to do, and we can be having a whole other conversation right now about just as opposed to blowing the game and being 2-1 like we are and panicking, to even if Derek Carr was out for however so many weeks, a 3-0 record, and how this team can sustain balance and accountability and try to pick up some wins so before he gets back. You know, a 3-0 record, even in a tragic like that with Derek Carr getting hurt, would be a whole lot better and a whole lot more optimistic than a 2-1 record and blowing the game with the team that you're likely going to be having on offense next week. Um, but I mean, hey, things happen. You know, it is what it is. So 2-1, it's not a bad record. It's just not as good as 3-0, and you know, just change your mindset, guys. Just change your mindset. Just kind of, I guess, expect the worst, but hope for the best. That's all we can say. All right, guys. You guys take it easy, and I'm out.